hadn't seen that before. So it's interesting to see yourself sometimes. I'm like, all right, thank you. Whoever, that was a great job. Okay, can I get a little bit more energy? Good morning, everyone. Woo, we gotta cut that a little bit. And before we get started, Jay, I want to thank the gentleman who let me have the parking spot outside, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being so gracious. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
It's early, isn't it?
Depends on the day. I'm typically up. It's early-ish, early adjacent.
Okay. Early adjacent. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started with our questions then. So we just saw a fantastic video of your journey, right? A lot of accomplishments there. But when people ask, what does it mean to be Mavericks DJ? What do you tell them? What do you tell people?
I think these days, when people ask that, they're just like, were you there when Luka was traded? And I was like, you know what? I know nothing. It's one of, I arguably have had one of the coolest jobs in the world. Growing up in MFFL, I am a diehard Mavs fan. So some people don't know that I'm actually a diehard Mavs fan and have been for a really long time. Funny story, my Hockaday ring on the inside is engraved MFFL. Not even my name, but it's incredible. But I think that I often have to break this down to people because yes, I am a trained DJ. Yes, I am a traditional DJ. But for the sake of operating in an arena, I'm actually a sound director. So think of me as scoring a basketball game. And I'm one of, at the time when I stepped away, I was one of the very few who were solely doing that, as in it's just me and there are no other people in the building playing an organ, actually DJing. So being able to be what I call the sixth man, quite literally, being the person and or trigger to unite the fan base, is so fun. You get to make personal relationships with the fans. I have people who I call my Mavs family because they really are. They've raised my kid in the arena since she was 4 years old. The arena staff, obviously my coworkers. It's quite an incredibly unique experience. I've been able to, again, travel the world, represent the team. I very much just need a championship. So y'all say some prayers, okay? And maybe this is it, because I just be on my way out. But beyond that, it's been a blessing. It's arguably one of the most unique experiences to see a sporting event and be a part of it from that vantage point. So if anybody have any additional questions after, I can write a dissertation on this. So yeah.
Thank you, Ivy. So you talked about your accomplishments, and we saw about your start in youth and government. Talk to us more about the journey. I mean, from being here, being at Hockaday, your journey that led up to being behind the mic with the Mavericks.
Yes, well, shout out to Katie. Where's Katie? Hey, girl, hey! And shout out to all youth and government alum and staff. And it was an incredible program. And I think I was telling the team when I visited, I was like, I just wanted a trip to Austin. I've always been the girl. I'm just being honest, and just leading with honesty. But I've always been the girl and the child who looked at opportunities that would take me elsewhere. And I think that it's very okay to be honest about these things, because if you want to know what it is that speaks to children of my ilk, is like, okay, where can this take me? Can it take me outside of my backyard? Can it take me on a trip? Can it take me into a space that I've never been in before? So that was alluring. But beyond that, it was an opportunity to hang with my friends. Two of my friends who are actually in those photos are ding, 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 civil servants now, right? Maggie Parker, who's here in Dallas, and one other friend. And it allowed us to be in spaces together, and do things that we cared about, which obviously at that time was community and activism. But I quickly figured out that, okay, so, the political realm might come at some point, but the way I like to be adjacent to that is storytelling, right? So when I learned about the media arm, I was like, I love this. I was already on the yearbook staff. Do I have any yearbook staff alum maybe somewhere here? No. I was also the youngest yearbook editor at Hockaday, so that's my other claim to fame, which I really, really love. But I've always been really into finding ways to amplify people's voices, finding ways to help people feel seen, heard, felt, and valued. And in that moment, it felt like the right thing to do. So I was not only producing content, I was in content. I love things that allow me to be 360. And it just, and look at me now.
Thank you, Ivy. So I'm hearing not only from you, but I've done my research, of course. There's a lot of firsts for you. So tell me, what was it like being the first black female DJ in the NBA? And I guess what motivated you to go down that path?
Oh man. I often say that some things come finding you, you don't go find it, right? Um, I've always loved music, I've always loved sports, and I always knew that whatever I did in my life would somehow intersect because I can never pick, right? I've always want to do everything. I always want this and that. I don't like the word or. That doesn't exist in my dictionary. But I went to college. I was at Marquette. I picked up DJing just as one of my many side hustles. And it really was because I was working in college radio as a promo director. And so that birthed a DJ career that I didn't even know that I would have. And I got there by saying yes to the next opportunity. So the local artist needed a DJ for a concert, and then somehow I found myself on a stage with 25,000 people opening for Wiz Khalifa just because I said I could DJ. I was like, okay, I meant in my bedroom, not for real, okay? But then, I interned for the Milwaukee Bucks for a very long time. I worked for Marquette Athletics, and there was always a need for music. There was always a need for, and I'm always looking to bow things up and make them really pretty. And music is a great element to do that. And one thing led to another. I always love to give Skylar Diggins. I'm not sure how many of y'all are WNBA fans. It better be everybody in this room. But Skylar Diggins gave me an opportunity to tour with her as her tour DJ for a basketball camp. So I'm also really great at making opportunities and jobs that don't exist. So I convinced her again, because I love to travel, guys. Can y'all tell? I was like, going on tour? Of course, why not? And I just told her that it would be a value add to be a part of her basketball camp as a DJ because you already have young women who are coming to you as a pioneer. Well, how about they see one more doing something else really cool? And that began a journey of 1,000 million steps, right? That one thing led to another, became the Dallas Wings DJ. And when the Dallas Mavericks came calling, it just felt like I was returning home. So I still have to say there was never an intention to be a first. It was always doing the next right thing. When I got there and I started to look around as I was doing my research, I was like, boy, it looks like a lot of men. I was trying to find other me so I could ask questions. And it's natural that I would go find another woman or somebody else who looks like me, and there was no one. So that's when I realized I was the first. It was never anything that I, even knew. I just got there and it happened. But I always say, heavy is the head who wears the crown, right? Because for a long time, that was a narrative that preceded me. Well, you're the first, you're the second, To be fair, there was one other woman who was the Detroit Pistons DJ before I got there. So love to give her flowers, but I think that it also showed me that there's a crap ton of work left to do, because if in 2020, 2018, 2019, 2016, whenever I joined the Mavs, if there were still opportunities for me to be the first of anything, I often said that sometimes it was a backhanded compliment because it meant that now, there was a lot of pressure, but I just felt like, why are there still things in the world where there are women and women who look like me and people, who look like me who haven't done this or haven't had opportunity. So it was a little bit of a double-edged sword. Love making the history, love being able to be in the history books, but understand that there's still a lot of work to be done in this area and a few others as well. So.
Okay, well, before we get to kind of the other roles that you serve, I'm going to ask one more question about the DJ aspect of your life. First off, are there any other DJs in here? Okay, good, we're safe.
Okay. So I can say.
So give folks in here a little bit of kind of color behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What's a great story? What's a horror moment? What's a funny story?
Oh. Okay. I was just telling someone this. I don't know who it was, but I was like, they were being really hard on themselves about something. And I was like, you want to know what I did my first year with the Mavs a few times? I stopped the dancers' music mid-routine, mid-game. And it's one thing if it happens once. Yeah, once, like, oh, okay, she's the new girl, new kid on the block. I'll give you that. Then it happened again. And then it happened again. And at some point they were like, all right, Ivy. So that was you can live through anything, y'all. I guarantee you. And most of the time I think that you in your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, everybody knows it's me. They don't even know where I am, didn't know who played it, whatever have you. So there were moments like that that allowed me to, make some grave mistakes real time. I also only had 3 games to learn the software. So I had 3 preseason games, and then opening night they were like, here are the keys, drive. And I was like, y'all are crazy. But it was, it's to, again, a lot of trust there. I always laugh too. I think everybody always wants to know like really interesting Luca stories. So to be very fair, up until that point, had not watched a lot of like Real Madrid or EuroLeague basketball. So I didn't know about Luca. I know. And we were playing in China that year for preseason, and it was my first time flying on a private Boeing 757, which was actually a really incredible experience. And so here's Lucas sitting up front with JJ Barea at the time, I think. And I get up there and I'm like, you're really good. And he's like, thanks. And then, of course, a few years later, I'm like, yeah, you are really good. But there have been incredible moments. I mean, being there for like Dirk's jersey retirement and scoring that, right? And talking to him personally and talking to Jessica, they've become great friends. Obviously, Jessica and I share the same heritage. She's half Kenyan. And being able to do that, I've made a lot of viral moments. One of the things that I really enjoy thinking about as well, we have MFFLs who are 40 plus year season ticket holders. And I'm like, gosh, if you've been at this arena 44 plus times for 40 years, I'm gonna try to do my due diligence and have you not listen to the same song over and over again, right? So yeah, but I worked really hard to speak to fans, knew their birthdays, knew every personal detail, would program games by the weather. And then when JJ, was there, huge Latin music fan, so I would play a lot of reggaeton for him. And that's how I built my friendship with Bad Bunny, funnily enough. Like just very early on, meeting him at a game or at an All-Star game and talking to him about JJ Barea, and he came to our playoff games a few years ago. Spoke to no one but me. I'm joking, but no, things like that. But also like playing, like I learned about Balkan and Slovenian music through Luka and Boban, right? And we would text back and forth, and I'd find things, and then it became a thing where he'd be like, if we win, you can play the music pregame. If we don't, stop. He's really superstitious. So that became like a thing. Created a lot of viral moments with him and Boban dancing. I totally forgot what the dance is called, but they would dance on the court pregame. And gosh, it's just been so many things. I think the fun thing is nobody knows it's me architecting these moments. So I feel like a master puppeteer, just getting to pull the strings behind the scenes. But gosh, just really special friendships, really, really special friendships. My favorites are the ones with the fans who are like, play my song, or they, make it a pregame routine to come and say hi to me. And I have stories for days, but I think my favorite part about it is nobody quite knows, that it was me behind behind a lot of these moments. So. Oh, also, I will tell this, yes, back when MC was proprietor of the team, there was a game where if, MC has direct lines to everybody on the team, and he would text me during the game every time I played something he didn't like and ask me, like real time. So I'm standing right here, and where he used to sit, and I could see him on his phone, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, here we go. That was a scary moment. But on the flip side, I was one of the few people who almost convinced him to change our team intro song. That was an accomplishment that obviously ended up not, passing. But yeah, man, I've been through the grind on that one.
Well, great. Thank you, Ivy. So we heard mention from Katie about, we talked about grandmother, mother, daughter. You play other roles. What other roles do you play in your life other than your professional, your DJ history and what you do now? What other roles are there?
I'm every woman for real. I feel like, in every sense of the word, I feel like I'm who Whitney Houston had in mind when she sang that song. But I have a lot of people here with me today. I have my whole team with me and family and friends. So everybody just wave and say hi wherever you are. But beyond that, my favorite role in life is connector, right? And I think I reduce it to that because whether I'm a friend, whether I'm a family member, whether I am an entrepreneur, whether I'm a consultant, whatever hat I decide to wear that day when I wake up. At the end of the day, one of my biggest things that I love to do is connect the dots. I love seeking opportunities for not only myself, but what happens is when I typically do that, I'm not a gatekeeper. I just don't think that that is anything that anybody should really be in life. I like to think of myself as a gate opener, right? So I like to think of myself as somebody who just makes sure that the gate is never closed and it's opening either way, because sometimes it only opens one way for people, right? So whether it's, consulting, whether it's, community service, whether it's just being somebody to talk to for someone today. I just think that my favorite role and thing to do in life is to connect people. I think that we are God's greatest resource, right? Aside from water, what is there most on this earth? People, right? So drink your water and be nice to people. It's my rule of thumb.
Okay, you all heard it. Drink your water, be nice to people. So you're a connector of people. We have a lot of people out here. Is there any advice that you would give folks out here? I mean, last bit of dialogue here. What do you want these individuals here today that have come to celebrate this occasion? What do you want them to take away from today's event?
So, funny, I would tell you everything that I do and then forget about my most recent venture. So, obviously, I love all the things that allow me to express myself. So, music, food, sports, fashion has always been one of my biggest passions. So, I am actually in the process of designing a bag line, and this will tie into exactly what you asked. And this purse that I have been carrying and working on for almost a year now um, was born out of a desire to send a message. It's what I call a belief system made wearable. And what it is, it's two bags. It's like right there. It's two different handbags, and you'll see me with it as I walk around. Oh, there goes Michaela. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. And it's literally two handbags put together because at a certain point in my life, to your point, I got tired of picking. I got tired of being made to pick. And that was advice like, oh, I just pick one thing, pick one thing. I'm like, I'm a Gemini. There's nothing about me that started as one and it's not gonna start now, right? And so I would carry two separate handbags to Mavs games and it quickly became a conversation piece. Because a lot of women would ask me, like, why are you carrying two bags? And I'm like, well, girl, when I leave the house, first and foremost, I gotta make two bags. Like, I got Kiani to take care of, and I have me take care of. So I think that the pay gap for women needs to be closed, and we need to earn a little bit more. So that's one. But two, I feel like we should be, whether as women, and I can only speak from my lived learned experience, but as human beings in general, we should be allowed and encouraged to exist in our dualities and multiplicities, whatever that might look like, right? And I know the world doesn't quite like things that they can't put into a box and bow and arrange and file and label and put it in a pretty place and say, you belong there. It's never been my story. And I don't think that that should be anybody's story should they choose to be different. So the two bags is it's a manifesto of what I say, carry both, right? So my message, to your question to anyone and everyone in here, what are your two bags, right? What are your two things? What are your three things? What do you like to be? What is your and, not your or, what is your and? And so I just think that in a world that is so precarious right now, so tough, so seemingly sometimes gloomy, sometimes dark, right? Find your other. And it's not always bad. I think sometimes when you have an other, they think it's like your alter ego and like your dark side or whatever. And it's like, no, like two things can exist and they both can be light and they both can be great. And, so my encouragement, my mantra right now, specifically for women, and I know that this speaks to mothers who are professionals or who have ambitions, and ambition and care can exist in the same space. Like, right, you can have strength and softness, and just live it out loud, right? That's why the bags are all bright colors, because I wear all white now, because that's my, my personal manifesto of throwing in the towel to the life struggle per se. But my bags are my bright spots, right? Your two bags are your bright spots. So carry your bags, carry both and carry them out loud.
Very nice. Great. Thank you very much, Ivy. Ivy will be here afterwards in case you want to ask any questions. I hope that's okay, Ivy.
That's perfect. I'm here.
So please help me thank Ivy Winfrey today.
And Jay, you know what? Before I do that, I do want to thank you all for being here this morning. I want to say thank you so much to all of the YMCA staff, board members, all of you who keep places like this alive, funded, let's be real, right? Taken care of, because as you can see, you just never know. You never know who walks through these doors and how any opportunity that you all make available and affordable can change the course of somebody's life. So it would be remiss without saying thank you. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone. Really, really want to make sure that I call that out because that is truly, truly important. The whole, reason why we're here. So thank you so much again for y'all's audience. And yeah, I'll be here. Let's hang. Let's talk.
Perfect.
Oh, girl.